In the spring and summer of 2022, National Urban League and Unidos US, along with partners, conducted over 60 interviews and focus groups with 260 people across various stakeholder groups. This animation contains actual quotes from individuals who participated in focus groups and interviews. Most people cannot agree on much, but one thing that we can all agree on is that all children deserve the best education possible. While some educational approaches work, not all of them work well with all students. Although we may disagree on a single approach, there are many teachers, parents, concerned citizens, and students working to change this equation. The ultimate goal is to value all the ways and places that teaching, learning, and development happen, in virtual spaces, in the community, the classroom, and everywhere else. Today at the Town Hall, the community gathers to discuss our areas of agreement.
Welcome to our Town Hall meeting. I'll be your moderator as we discuss areas of agreement for assessment and accountability, broadened success, continuous improvement, community involvement, and cultural relevance. Let's dive right in. What can be done to help broaden the definition of success for schools?
We shouldn't limit our kids by an assessment, because really our kids, I believe in people's ability, regardless of race, color, regardless of kids' abilities. They're intelligent. I just think that the district should, or every district, every school nationwide, should be well equipped helping our kids. They should do these assessments for one purpose, to help them.
We need multiple measures. We need high-quality measures, a balanced assessment system that goes down to the school and classroom level, so that we have other measures to better understand what truly is happening in that school and what kind of things are getting the desired outcomes, such as instruction in the classroom and leadership. There's all different things that come into play.
We can help redefine what great schools mean. Which schools are accelerating growth longitudinally for student groups that have been disenfranchised? That's a great school. Which schools are welcoming? Which schools invest in professional learning for teachers and honor teacher professionalism? There are indicators in our systems that we could be drawing attention to. I think we can do a better job of that.
I think there isn't one perfect way to measure how a student does. I think it takes a myriad of different tactics in order to get at least a nuanced understanding of how a student is doing, in order to get all the angles and see all the different sides of the student's performance. I don't think one way, one form of assessment would be enough. It will be multiple things working in tandem to get an accurate picture.
We are off to a great start. It seems like we are all on the same page here. We need to look at a variety of factors to tell us how schools and students are doing. We need to make better use of the test results with the goal of helping schools, students, and families. These are really great ideas to give us an inclusive vision of success. Who else would like to share?
The essence of the test is really in as much as you're also testing a student, you're also testing yourself as the teacher. If in a class of 10 students, you give them a test, and 2 of them manage to perform well, and 8 of them manage to perform really poorly, you as a teacher really start questioning your teaching skills, your strategies, or everything. So yes, the test really also plays an important role in the strategies that you're going to use in teaching your students.
If we could come up with some guidance for teachers and other instructional personnel as to get them started, as to how do you use this? How do you interpret it? Now you have the results. What can you do about it in terms of instruction? I watch teachers' eyes glaze over when they look at an array of data and then it's like, okay, where do I go from here? How do I make this work in real life? What does it tell me about the student? A lot of times, it's not clear. And I'm not sure that the people who create the tests and the people who are in charge of assessments have all the tools they need to help the instructional staff.
Great points. We need to create effective feedback and communication loops, from assessments to results, to applications of results, to teacher improvement and student growth. Now, As we think about accountability systems, how can we ensure that there's continuous improvement there?
I don't think it's the accountability system that meets the needs of children. I think it's a much deeper experience that meets the needs of children. I think the accountability is a measure of how well we do that. I have seen amazing schools that just, knock it out of the ballpark, and then the next year they lose their school administrator and the accountability system fluctuates so much.
Using leading indicators like attendance and then looking at growth and maybe other measures like faculty retention. Because a lot of times I think of school leadership. The school leadership sort of leads the change in a school that's going through turnaround or overhaul.
So I've worked very closely with a school that was well performing, and it was actually a redesign and restructuring within the school. So they took a school that was struggling and turned it into an early learning campus so they could really focus on the early learning aspect and put more focus on the next level up in the next school. So they were able to dive a little bit deeper into the exact needs and focus around bands of age groups in a different way. And so far, that has proven to be very successful.
Wow, that's really encouraging. We have to look at attendance and staff retention. Is it welcoming? Do people want to be there? Let's keep adding to the recipe. We are cooking with gas. How can we ensure that the communities, families, and students have a greater voice in the decisions that affect them?
My 8th grade teacher, she used to put surveys and they were tiny check-ins and it was a private things between you and the teacher. And it will just be question her generally asking how things are between you and your relationship and how are you feeling. And she just made it very comforting to tell her stuff.
Teachers asking for feedback one-on-one can go a long way to creating spaces where students' perspectives are valued. How do we ensure that families are welcome?
One idea I have: no more scaled scores. Just pull them off. They don't need them. Just the achievement level descriptors. We're going to try to develop family-friendly range achievement level descriptors. Like that's it. Here's the level your child's at. Here's the next level up. Here's some resources that you can probably use at home to start introducing the concepts at the next level.
I have to say, they have really good communication with us, and they inform us about whether they're doing well or not in school or how we can help them. But it's assumed that when they go to take the exam, they have the necessary information that their grade requires, whatever we were told at the beginning of the year. Well, they're not supposed to have any problems passing the test.
Unfortunately, me, as a mother, even though I've educated myself, the educational system doesn't help us parents when we go and ask. When I ask my teacher, okay, what's my son learning at the school level? For example, what grade level is my son currently in? Despite having 25 to 30 students in a classroom, I want to know what my son's capacity is. So I go and ask. And I see and I've observed that the teachers aren't used to parents asking those kinds of questions. They feel they're being questioned. They start talking to the administration amongst themselves, where they're like, oh, this mom, I feel uncomfortable. She's questioning me so much, which I'm just trying to be informed.
Ouch. Sounds like there is some mistrust. Community is an important space for healing and creating safety.
Yes, the community part too is really impactful on the kids' life. It has a faster effect on them, just like having a lot of smokers, for example, in the community is something the kids will learn from that and want to do those kind of things. So I feel the community should try to reduce the rate of negative information being passed.
So, all these talks, all these discussions are useful for all of us, so we can see how we can focus more right now and demand more from the system. Demand more. Keep learning, keep training ourselves. Basically, I say if you don't prepare a parent, how is the parent going to prepare the child, right?
Knowledge and information are shared in so many ways. Let's build on that to discuss cultural relevance. What do we need to improve?
Our students with an IEP or 504 plan have a plethora of things that allow them to access the test and, frankly, to obtain a diploma.
Because parents feel ashamed, intimidated, or feel like they don't know how to speak fluently, and that's why they do it that way. So, hold them accountable. Don't just let them make all the decisions, but create a Parents Resource Center where we can all come and say, this is our policy, this is what we want, this is what we want to measure. Does this program really work? I want to see data. I want to see information showing whether this has really helped my child or not.
For me, it really helped me hone in that I didn't have enough content to engage my male readers. You know, when I looked at their reading scores and how they did not master the reading part of the test, it helped me to find something to engage them more. That reading on the standardized tests, it's just subpar to say the least. It's not inclusive. It's not reflective of diversity. It's just most of the times it is, you know, an excerpt from some old white dude or some old white person that these kids can't connect to. They're not going to do well on it, but it also shows me that I need to find something that is more enticing, more engaging, to get these kids to read for the sustainability and the length of time that they want them to read on standardized testing.
Yeah, for me, I feel like the quality of the library is important too. The library should be standard enough for a diversity of kids with different career goals. They should really have a lot of books for kids, not just one type of book, varieties of books. I feel like this library should be very standard, in case if a kid wants to learn more about something and just gain more concern in their career.
One of the most interesting takeaways I had from a conference was a proposal for adaptive test, but not adaptive in the skills being assessed, but adaptive to where the context could present the same item. But if you're in rural or central of the country, instead of having a question about something very coastal, they would have it be more based on that region. If it's more like an inner city, they could have it be context there.
We covered a lot of ground today. We have identified common areas of agreement and also lots of improvements to make. Sadly, our time is up. Thanks to everyone who participated. Your commitment is commendable.
Big picture, there's agreement on expanding what success looks like, refining our approaches, centering cultural relevance and deeper partnerships with families and communities. We need to ensure that these great ideas take hold in our local communities.